Welcome back for another episode of Strive for 25. Joel Farrell here, and looking forward to sharing with you.
Another episode with Strive for 25, and I've got a cool guest on with us, Michael Allen. And this fits into a couple different series, our investment equation series, and also our savings equation series. And again, the investment equation series, talking about investing and buying assets and getting a return on your dollar. And in the savings equation series, income minus your expenses equals your savings. And so Michael, full-time job in the military, active duty, and over the past couple of years, been doing some things on the side in the crypto world. And here to kind of talk a little bit about some basics on crypto. And that's where it kind of also falls in the investment equation series. And again, this is one of the hot topics of this current market is crypto and up and down. But Michael, so glad to have you on.
Hey, I'm happy to be here, Joel. Full-time active duty in the Coast Guard. And, I've always been kind of in that entrepreneurial spirit of trying to, find things to do, find ways to improve my life and better my life for myself and the family and things like that. And always been a big researcher and things like that. And I kind of came into crypto pretty recently. I'm just that kind of, average person that's like, I heard about crypto a long time ago when it kind of first came out. It was originally started back right around 2008, 2009 by an anonymous person, Satoshi Nakamoto, on a web board is kind of where its origins lie. And all of a sudden, it burst onto the scene and became this actual thing that people started trading and having value. Really caught some people's attention when there was a guy that on the web page forum basically traded someone for pizza. They basically said, if you order a pizza and have it delivered to my house, I will send you some Bitcoin. And actually that's been kind of commemorated in a day now that is called Bitcoin. What is it? Bitcoin Pizza Day. Let me see what it is here. Yeah, May 22nd. Yeah, Bitcoin Pizza Day is where a Floridian programmer bought two pizzas and basically traded 10,000 Bitcoin.
Okay.
For two pizzas. Now,
Man.
I mean, if you think about what's Bitcoin been trading at, Bitcoin was trading as low as pennies. Long, or less than a penny long times ago. And, back in 2021, it was over $60,000, so it's amazing to see where things can start and then build value and gain value over time. And it's just been pretty amazing to come into this space and do enough research to start to understand things about crypto. And it's vast, the amount of knowledge and things that are out there. Essentially in the Web3 world is kind of what it's being called nowadays with blockchain and crypto, NFTs, layer ones, there's all these terms that are out there that people have to start to try and wrap their minds around. And the best way to do that is to literally just do your own research, is what DYOR, you'll see that a lot in this space, as well as stocks and things like that. But I just started doing my own research, and
where did you? What was the first place you started to do your own research? That's a very vast
right,
range of things to look into, online books. What was the biggest place that you were able to gain the most good knowledge?
So literally Googling things. But one of the best websites that I found for education to get a basic start on it was actually Coinbase, which is one of the largest crypto exchanges, centralized exchanges in the world. And it actually has an education section. If people go to my website, that seekerofcoin.com, and you scroll down to my first article, it goes over how I started, where I started, and it actually talks about the portal that Coinbase has. I've got a couple of links on there that people can click on and get to the education section of Coinbase there. And what it does is it basically starts at the origin of crypto. And that was Bitcoin, obviously, as far as the currencies. And then from there, yep. So
You see this secretofcoin.com.
Yep. So that's the bear in my utility NFT. That one just started. That was my latest article. But if you go to that search tab there, and you can put start,
and then hit enter,
and search for that, and that should bring you straight to, there it is. So that's where I started the journey.
Oh,
and that will throw back to the cheat code there. Up, down, down.
Right.
But
August 31st of last year. So I mean, like,
that was the first. Yeah. So that was the first article that I wrote about crypto, and my journey into it and everything. And so yeah, there's a couple of links on there that talk about Coinbase and things like that. And then there's actually if people are interested in reading some stuff about crypto and its origins, it's actually the book that I recommended to you, called The Kings of Crypto. And that is a good book. In the beginning, it talks generally about crypto, and it actually talks about the origin of Coinbase, its founder and their process out in California and things like that. But just the beginning of that book as well kind of gives a good origin story. And it was actually really easy to read too, as far as like a book that's about an industry and its origins. So
you mentioned, crypto and the same sentence value. And, we take dollars, right? And every country has their own currency, and we exchange it for goods. And that is how we establish value, right? And, what's backed on trust and things like that. And so crypto comes out of really nowhere. From an ideology standpoint, there's obviously a lot of history, but crypto comes out of nowhere and then becomes something, and then we assess value to it. And obviously there's different types of coins, and we all know the main ones, like a Bitcoin or an Ethereum, and there's
Doge. So those are actually called layer ones. Well, like the origins are essentially layer one. Like Bitcoin is the original, and then you have anything other than that is in the space kind of called an altcoin, an alt. And layer ones are something that all these other tokens, like Dogecoin, is actually like a token built on like the Bitcoin chain. Or you have the biggest ones right now are kind of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and BNB, the Binance chain, Binance Smart Chain. They've actually gone through a couple of things, but yeah, Binance is kind of like number 3 in the space right now. I'm looking at a website that people can actually go to called CoinMarketCap. And CoinMarketCap is kind of like an aggregator of all of the of what's going on in the crypto space. And the ticker on top right now is showing that there are over 20,000 different tokens and cryptos out there. But one of the things that's interesting to follow is the overall market cap. The overall market cap right now for crypto is $1.04 trillion. Now, that, to the average person may seem huge, and it is huge, right? $1 trillion is no joke, but that's small when you consider the
Apple
size of
Apple,
exactly,
Amazon, like by themselves.
Yeah, it is small when you consider something, the space overall, and business and investing and things like that. And one of the things that you'll hear is that, are we early to a lot of things? And crypto, as far as value, can be looked at in various ways, but the way I look at it is having reasonable timelines on your investments. Now, back when someone traded 10,000 Bitcoins for 2 pizzas, do you think they knew that, Bitcoin was probably going to be trading at 60 something thousand dollars? Probably not. I don't think anyone in their right mind would trade something where 10,000 of those, would equal, times 60K each, for 2 pizzas.
Yep.
Especially, if they knew there's infinite potential in these things. if you find the right ones. There's a lot of stuff out there that's, you know, you can make bad trades on, you can get into bad projects, you can get into bad people running bad projects. There's been some news lately about various people that have like gone dark in the space and took a bunch of money and ran. And that's something that's a risk in any kind of space. But that's why regulations are starting to change. You know, for the longest time, there was no regulation. But one of the good things is that regulation is somewhat coming to clean up the space a little bit. While it's not so much completely the Wild West anymore, there's still huge opportunities for people that don't risk more than they can not have, but want to have potentially good upside. And the biggest thing for me is having realistic timelines on that, because if you look at the overall chart, it's going up and to the right. And what does everybody always want? You know, you want your investments and you want your charts to go up and to the right. Now, not saying that there's been dips. Obviously, there's been a huge dip on Bitcoin and the overall market since 2021, where the market overall was up over $3 trillion. Now we're down at 1 trillion. But for folks that do investing and want opportunities, you don't buy the top, right? Like you buy when things are down. What's Warren Buffett saying? You know what?
There's blood in the water.
Yep. Buy. I think it's buy when there's blood in the streets. You know, when everyone is crying, that's when you should be buying. Is what I kind of like personally. And it's not having, you know, it's not risking more than you're capable. Like don't people should not be going out there going into crypto and spending their rent money, their food, you know, their mortgage payments, anything like that. We hear about it, and it's unfortunate and that's bad, because people should not be risking that money. That is not money that you should be risking. You need to, you know, have your living expenses covered. And that's part of having any budget. That's part of anyone having any budget, is you need to have your income and your expenses calculated so that you know what you can be doing as far as your living, your survival as far as finances. And the Strive for 25, actually, I went and kind of calculated my personal savings and my personal budget to kind of figure it out, because I put a lot of it on autopilot. You know, the best way to do that is kind of pay yourself first and not even, you know, don't see it. Don't let it get to your checking account where it's gonna, you know, you're gonna want to spend it or something. So I actually have a fair amount of my income that goes directly into my federal retirement account, as well as a regular IRA on the outside. So I'm not at 25%, but I was actually higher than I expected. So that the striving part is good. It's not, you don't have to get to 25. It's a great goal, but you know, the more that you can put away in general is always better.
I mean, I don't even think I need to talk anymore. I mean, I could just bring you on and just talk about this every day. You can just take my job. My goodness.
No. Hey, I'm passionate about it. I like to help people to find opportunities and you know, make their lives better through them. There's so many different ways of doing things out there that can be, you just have to take the time to kind of do it. One of those things is writing books. You can do on Amazon. I wrote a book and it's actually for sale on Amazon called The ABCs of the Coast Guard. And it's a kid's ABC book where I just had an idea and took the time to write down some concepts and put it all together. I found an illustrator on Fiverr is a website that you can go out there and contract people to do stuff.
Yes.
You know, put some time in, put it all together, and put it up on Amazon. And now I'm getting royalty income from Amazon for selling books.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's great.
I didn't even think that we would even get to that, but that's so cool because, you know, in some of the videos on our channel, you know, we talk about saving money, getting ahead, and there's so much content out there about cutting your expenses and budgets and whatever, which is all great information, but not enough out there about increasing income. Because when you talk about the force of compounding into your dollars, right? Time, which is one more thing I want to get back to you on, is the time horizon when it comes to investing, is getting a little more kind of explanation on that, because I think it's really powerful stuff from a mindset perspective. But if you spend all kinds of energy on your budget and cutting expenses, there's only so much of a return you can get, because you can only cut so much, right? And then the question becomes, well, how much time are you spending on increasing income? Zero, something. I mean, who knows? But if you are, that's where things can get really interesting, because in theory, if you spend time every single day, whether it be on getting better at your job or building a business on the side. Now, I have clients that are doing Etsy, Rover.com, working for Fiverr, doing virtual assistant work, working for Fiverr, doing all kinds of different things, people building businesses on the side. You get better at that. You fast forward the clock 1 year, 10 years. Imagine how much possibility could be there in terms of generating more income. And so that's a great example, writing a book, putting it on Amazon. And I know that we talked about this in the past, but for the listeners out there, writing a book, the ABCs of the Coast Guard, why did you do that? What does the book reader get out of it? Because, I know this because in my mortgage world, I'm not a veteran. I never served in the Army, the Coast Guard, any of the forces. But I get a pleasure to be able to talk to people like you that have, and it's a different lifestyle. I lived in St. Louis my entire life. I haven't had to move. And, the person that's been in 10, 20 years or less or more, you're moving every number 3, 4, 5 years, and you're picking up your family to a brand new place and doing that multiple times. That's a whole different lifestyle, and it's a lot to put your family through, and you kind of got to rally together. So can you share a little bit about that and also the book?
So, the book really came about with my daughter. I have a 4-year-old daughter that came about, and when I was working in South Carolina, I was in Charleston, and I would have like overnight duties where I'd be away from the family, and kind of just came up with this thought of like, what's something that I can make for my kid, and that I can pass down to show her, it's for her, it's dedicated to her and everything, and provide some entertainment, but knowledge as well, because the book goes over like, it's the ABCs of the Coast Guard. A through Z is something that is in the Coast Guard. Like A, for example, is Alexander Hamilton, who was the founder of the Revenue Cutter Service, which turns into the Coast Guard. So that's a little bit of history. It's things like that that are in the book. And one of the cool things is it's like, no matter where I move, the book can generate income everywhere, because it's being sold on a website. It's being sold from a website. It's actually called Kindle Direct Processing, or Kindle Direct Printing is, I think, what the old program was called. But it's basically a print-on-demand book service that you upload it, someone orders your book, they print it and send it to them, and then you get a percentage of the royalties, and you get to set your set your pricing and things like that. It was actually relatively simple. It's kind of how it came about. It was just an idea, and a lot of things are, people need to take their ideas and don't be afraid to fail, but put forth the effort to make it happen. Because if you don't, oh, yep, there it is.
Yeah.
And that went from an idea of basically just, I took an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper and I cut it in half. And so I had, a 4-inch page, and wrote out, some pictures on it, A through Z. This is the ideas in, pencil, and went from pencil to finding an illustrator to being published on Amazon and available for sale, And art was not my forte, and that's why I went and found someone and hired someone to do it. And that kind of takes me back to the NFTs and back to the crypto world. Kind of we'll circle back here.
Yeah.
To the crypto world. One of the big things out there is NFTs that people are talking about, which is non-fungible tokens. And NFTs are a different version of crypto, in that NFTs are unique items. They're unique tokens. They're non-fungible tokens And each NFT,
What does fungible mean?
that they're not the same.
Okay, so
Everything,
non-fungible can't be replicated.
yeah.
Okay.
Basically, it's
Okay.
unique to the one, or one through whatever it is,
Okay.
that every one of them is unique. Whereas like Bitcoin, a Bitcoin is a Bitcoin is a Bitcoin. They're all Bitcoins.
Okay.
And an NFT could be, you know, NFT number 2 of 10,000 looks different and has different traits than all those others. And that's where a lot of these NFTs are, where a lot of people with some art background or design background or computer background have been getting into NFTs that have a vast amount of opportunities out there for people, especially in the art world and things like that, where NFTs started simply kind of as art and JPEGs and things like that, where people kind of make fun of them until they see that some projects out there, one NFT is worth millions of dollars because they've been around and the project has grown and things like that. But one of the topics that you had here that we kind of wanted to talk about is that it's not going away. Cryptocurrency and NFTs and things are not going away. In fact, companies are adopting them and moving into the Web3 space faster than ever. I think there's a couple projects out there that I follow where there's one where we are minting NFTs that correspond to physical cases of investment grade wine. And so like the NFT corresponds to an actual case of wine that's being held in Europe in a bonded warehouse where they know the provenance, they know the value and things like that. And then one of the unique features of that project that's called WIVA is that eventually you'll be able to request to take out a loan for 40% of the value of your wine, or of some percentage specifically. Who's ever heard of that? Who's ever heard of doing that? None that I know of. Who's been able to take a loan on the wine cellar in their basement?
Right.
I've never heard of that. So things like that, where NFTs are moving into a space that's going to be wildly, more advanced than people think. There's a project that I'm working in previously called Bank Social, where similar into the mortgage industry, mortgage notes, where your mortgage note could eventually be minted into an NFT. And then the beauty of the blockchain is that it's immutable. It's never going away and everybody can see it. You don't not necessarily know exactly what specifically is happening, but like you can see when an NFT transfers and moves somewhere to someone else's, it's called like a wallet address or their address. And so once a sale is made, the closing process could be amazingly fast. A transfer of funds could be amazingly fast through blockchain. Now, there's things that have been around, like blockchain's been around quite a long time in blockchain, not just in cryptocurrency necessarily. There's a lot of industry that uses something like blockchain. Like people probably like maybe interacted with blockchain and not even really know what's going on. But that's the future of finance and NFTs as a store of value, as a transfer of value, as a representation of something. Like I said, whether that's wine or mortgages or simply art, as some of these projects are. There's a project that I just got into that is started out in California, where a lot of the hype of these NFTs are, where if you're a holder of this NFT, you can actually go to any of their partner restaurants and get a menu item, like a combo or whatever, that's up to $30. Now, we'll see exactly how this project goes and things like that, but you can literally like take your phone, your wallet, your crypto wallet, and go in there, and the staff have been trained to scan your QR code of your wallet and they've built proprietary software that knows what tokens, NFT tokens, like non-fungible tokens, which of the NFTs of the, it's called the Food Fighters universe, of which of the food fighters you have and how many, and then it redeems one of your tokens. And then in 30 days, you can come back or go to a different one if you have more than one token and redeem it for a menu item. Like that's mind-blowing that there's projects out there that are doing these sorts of things. And it's amazing to see the innovation that companies have and projects have. And, these are people that have an idea, on some way of doing something differently and utilizing technology to make it happen.
There's a lot there. So what is the blockchain? Digging a little bit deeper on the future, because it's not going away. And as more regulation comes into play, it's going to become even more prevalent in so many more things. And then when you're talking about scanning your NFT and then getting to be able to purchase something at a store, a wine store in this case, I'm trying to equate that to something in normal life, right? Okay, I'm going to go in, I've got a coupon or a Groupon, and I'm going to get a discount on this, 12-pack of wine or a carton of wine or whatever. But the difference in this is that, okay, you're buying an NFT or you acquire the NFT, which actually has a store of value, right? There's value in that rather than just a coupon that you use it and done.
Yeah. Well, so the NFT itself costs a certain amount. It's called minting an NFT when you are the first person to get the NFT out of the contract. Like you interact with the project and the website, and you can mint an NFT, and it is generated, and then you're the first owner of it. And then you can purchase NFTs through various websites. There's one of the biggest ones that I know of is OpenSea. It's kind of like an eBay version for NFTs. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if in the future eBay moves into the NFT world. Like we're already seeing major companies that are making pivots and doing things like this to move into a blockchain Web3 friendly space. Like they recognize the power and opportunity that's out there in these things. But so that's like the NFT itself, where that NFT has a value. There's a resale value, and then there's things go up and down with the markets. And then there's like the utility of just holding and owning that NFT, which is once a month per NFT. You can go to one of these partner restaurants and get up to $30 in value on their menu. Now, that's currently, we'll see if the project, continues and is successful and things like that. But, it's a well-backed project, well, designed and things like that. A lot of the interesting part of it is that you can have like a lot of ideas, and you need to look at the projects that are out there if you're going to go into any of them on their ability to execute and be successful in what it is that they're doing. That project has Snoop Dogg as one of their advisors. I'm like, oh, wow. You don't bring Snoop Dogg in without kind of knowing what you're doing, right?
Right.
Things like that, where it's like, there's a lot of things out there in this space right now that are like, if it's completely mind-blowing and unbelievable, you gotta be careful, because if it sounds crazy, it might be crazy.
Yep.
But if it doesn't sound too crazy, and the team seems like they have the knowledge in the background to be able to execute on that idea, it's amazing. You've got would have thought we'd be doing what we're doing today. Like this right now, right? Someone had an idea for a video conferencing software that you could do this on, and here we are on Zoom. That someone had an idea and figured out a way to bring the right people together to make it happen. A lot of blockchain and business is networking and finding the right people to help you achieve your goals and dreams and be successful.
Yeah, there's so much there to dig into. We're going to have to come back and do this again. So I literally don't know the logistics of blockchain, and I'm dying to know more about the basics of it, and I'm sure listeners out there are too. So can we dig into just, okay, what the heck is a blockchain? What does that even mean? Because I don't even know myself.
So blockchain, best thing to do would be to Google it and find
Okay.
some legitimate references. Like I said, Coinbase, those links on my site there are a great starting point. Blockchain summarized is distributed ledger technology, where the blockchain is kind of like a series of computations that have been completed in certain ways, where it's all kind of like in the cloud. A lot of people talk about, where blockchain is ledgers. It's a series of ledgers, and I'm not a blockchain expert, so it's hard to explain, but
Okay.
it's distributed ledger technology where everybody that interacts with it,
It's all visible, it can be
plays a
seen,
part.
and it doesn't go
It's
away.
all visible, it can be seen, and that's where like that immutable part is, that it's
Okay.
not going to, unless there's drastic measures to take out the internet globally, it's not going away, because the cat's out of the bag. It exists.
Yeah.
And it's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So basics are like, that's what blockchain is: distributed ledger technology. And that's why you hear about like different kinds of crypto where there's mining, like Bitcoins are mined by validators and things like that, where they're computing and solving these equations and logging all of these things. And basically the miners, when they compute and complete a transaction and solve an equation, they essentially get like paid in Bitcoin, and that's how they're
A
mining
percentage, I
Bitcoin.
guess.
Yeah, they get like a fee, kind of a percentage.
Okay.
And so
Okay.
like they're generating and mining Bitcoin. And I think 21 million Bitcoin tells.
So Bitcoin has a finite amount.
Yeah, Bitcoin
Okay.
has a finite amount. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin.
What about like an Ethereum or
Currently,
Doge?
Ethereum, I believe, is also a mining. That's okay. So this is where you start getting into these proof of stake and proof of work chains. Like I said, there's a massive amount of knowledge and things that people can
Going
get
down
into
the rabbit
researching
hole.
out there. Down the very much. Yep, so that's my first post. There was like, that's why it's like it's a hole. And I went deep down the rabbit hole. And so what right now there's 18.925 circulating supply. So there's 18,925,000 circulating supply on Bitcoin right now. There's only ever going to be 21 million, and
Okay.
then mining's going to stop, and then it's
Yep.
just going to be trading and earning fees on that. There's also projects out there that are called tokens. Those are the things that are built on top of the blockchains, where they're built on a layer. So like a layer 2 or something like that, where, for instance, that project Bank Social that we're talking about is
Mhm.
a project built on Ethereum and Binance chains, where basically, like, between Ethereum and Binance, everybody in the world can basically access it with their wherever country they're in. And to do that, those are generated by what's called a smart contract, which is a written code generated by the developers that kind of takes some of the, not guesswork out of it. It takes some of the human interaction out of it, where like the contract is written in order to execute specific things. Like when you interact with the contract is going to do what the contract is coded to do, whether that's to do a buy or a sell or something like that. And contracts like that and tokens like that generally have also a finite supply that is essentially minted out of the black hole, and like the full number of tokens exists all of a sudden. Boom, it's there. And those then are kind of distributed out of that deployer wallet based on whatever the project's goals are. And that's all with the developers, whether they have like marketing funds and this and that. A lot of it gets put into exchanges where actual customers that's where they can buy and sell the token. And then There's various ways of interacting with these things where there's centralized exchanges, which would be something like Coinbase or Robinhood, where, for instance, like you put an order in and then they handle it for you. Like they do it. That's both good and bad because a lot of centralized exchanges are great. They have great technology. They're huge. They can do a lot. You have access to a lot of different things. They're relatively simple to use. But they're also somewhat bad because they have limitations on your control of your tokens. Like, for instance, one of the big things was when Robinhood got really big in crypto. It was for Dogecoin, and that was honestly, if you read my article, that was my entry into it. It was like, well, Robinhood was essentially a centralized exchange for people to go on there and buy Doge. And when Doge, like when Elon like basically tweeted about it or called it a hustle,
Pumped it,
and everyone like started selling as fast as they could, and then Robinhood, like I think they shut off trading or something, basically, where like people got locked out. People got like, that's their money, but they can't access it. They can't do anything with it. That's where centralized exchanges get kind of interesting. That's where the other part of blockchain and Bitcoin, not Bitcoin, but blockchain and cryptocurrency comes into play, is the decentralized finance side of things, where you are in control of your funds all the time, as long as you have access to your wallet, a crypto wallet, and you have your code and can enact and transact these, make these transactions yourself. You interact with the decentralized exchange, and you say, my wallet address contains 5 Ethereum, and I want to buy, 30 million token of this token, and you cause a transaction to happen from your wallet to that decentralized exchange and back to your wallet. And now your wallet contains your token. There's a term that's out there that's called not your keys, not your crypto. And that's where that term comes from, where if your crypto is on a centralized exchange, they can shut off your access to it. You can't sell it. That's happened recently with a few exchanges. If people kind of look around out there, they're out there, and it has happened. And that's why I personally am a proponent of decentralized finance and having your keys, your crypto. You need to be careful with it, because should you lose your seed phrase, which is depending on the type of wallet you use, it could be 12 or 24 words. It's gone, basically. Like, unless you
there's no reset password button.
There's no reset password.
Damn.
There is, like, it's gone.
Damn.
You can reopen or import your wallet and re-access it in another application or another wallet app, because it's all it is your ownership of the address on the blockchain. Whatever wallet you're using, that's basically like a doorway. It's a viewer. Like, okay. And then you have viewers that are kind of like having a window to your wallet, and then you have wallets that are actually able to interact and transact on the blockchain, where you have given it essentially like permissions and authority to, where it's more like a door. It's like you get to go in there and you actually get to move the money around and play with it.
So if you lose something, there's still hope. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, as long as you keep those words safe. Do not ever put them on the internet. Don't email yourself your 12 words. The safest way that I have found so far is that you write it down and you put it in a fireproof safe.
Right on the back of your hand?
No, don't do that, because then someone else can see it.
Okay.
And literally someone could see those 12 words and import those words in an app of their own, and now they have control of your wallet.
Okay.
And it's happened. There's been, I don't even know how much cryptocurrency in value has been stolen from people because they're not safe with their seed phrase, with their passwords. They've been phished quite often is a problem that happens. But that's like the deep dive. If you want to be somewhat safe, keep to centralized exchanges. But if you want to like dig deep, that's in the DeFi realm and projects like that. That whole first article that I wrote goes over that sort of thing where it was like, all right, how did people buy Lamborghinis with Dogecoin? And it was because they like, once Doge hit Saturday Night Live, it was like a lot of people were too late. In that realm.
Buy the rumor, sell the news.
Yeah, kind of like buy the rumor, sell the news kind of a thing. But that's where I dove deep on finding out how to utilize decentralized finance and NFT projects and things like that. So
time, right? Time horizon,
time value of money,
time value of money. So putting money in that you don't need for rent, money that you can be okay with not using for how long? What kind of time horizon should you have if you're throwing dollars into crypto or any other investment like this?
Well, there's different ways of looking at that. If you're going to try and be a trader, good luck. I'm not someone that does that. I don't have the time to do that. But you need to have reasonable timelines. And if you're going to go into something speculative and risky, like, crypto, you need to have reasonable timelines. And I would say that's several months, on the larger stuff, larger chains and things like that, to years. If you're going to be in the decentralized finance stuff, it's very risky. But there's a lot of money to be made out there in short-term trading. And there's a vast amount of knowledge out there to learn and play on. Twitter is a huge network that a lot of crypto people use. You can literally just search hashtag crypto, and there's thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of tweets like constantly. There's a lot of garbage out there, but a lot of good things to be found in the when you peel things back and find the legitimate stuff.
Totally. I'm sorry I interrupted you, but Twitter by itself, in the last few months here, I've seen just an amazing amount of contributors putting amazing threads on literally any topic. If you want to learn something about sales, finance, crypto, assets, this mindset, there's a lot of people out there putting out good threads. So Twitter's a great tool.
Twitter, YouTube, whatever TikTok, whatever social media you use, it's you got to find the real ones, find the ones that are not literally. There's a lot of stuff that's hype, where they're just talking about something that like, oh, it's going to go to the moon. You got to be careful with those kinds of things, because a lot of the time those influencers are pumping up something and then it crashes, and then everyone kind of ends up holding the bag. They're called the bag holder. And so you just got to watch out for that sort of stuff. You got to find things that you believe in, trust, that have an opportunity to change things, and that you're interested in. That Food Fighters NFT, I'm a huge foodie. And so I was like, hey, this is a cool project, cool concept. I got some extra cash to play with. We'll see how it goes, and get a free meal out of it occasionally. So, but that timeline, I'm not expecting this project to make me a millionaire at all, really. If it does, great. But I do expect potentially that it could gain value, and those NFTs could gain in value over time. That timeline, I would say, is definitely months, maybe
years.
Months, years. Yeah. And like I said, it's people need to have realistic timelines. And in crypto, people don't a lot of the time. People want the moon and they want it yesterday. And it's not like that. You got to think that some of these things, unless you're playing in the decentralized finance world, and it's extremely risky, and you're basically like robbing this side to pay this side, and people are just trying to trade on top of each other, that's where people can like make huge amounts of money really quickly, very badly, I would say, because like you're like robbing other people kind of essentially in that.
So at some point it's
Versus,
gonna implode.
yeah, and at some point it's going to implode. And then there's looking at legitimate projects that are out there building a business. And building a business is not something that happens overnight. It takes time.
Well, I mean, that's one of the things I know that we talked about in terms of bank social. You know, they're doing things, providing utility, the financing part of things, doing mortgage loans. I think they're in regulatory phases right now in the last steps. But
Yep,
so you're saying there's a lot of
and
utility.
yeah, building true utility, and you know the bank social thing's been around since last May, and they're going through a huge thing right now, which is auditing and you know AML, like anti-money laundering licensing, and just you know serious checks to be in compliance. And that's another thing that is important to look into as well. Is like, is a project that you're looking at compliant for the region that they're operating in? Are they licensed? Things like that. Like the bank social thing has a license, licensing in the UAE, Canada, United States, I believe as well. Like they're, you know,
Oh, wow.
the projects that take the time to do those sorts of things are generally the ones that it's going to take time. But there's serious opportunities out there for those ones that are going to take the time to truly develop and build a business.
So I know you don't have a whole lot of time, but you writing that book, just it's a great message for me personally, because I'm in the middle of my ebook right now. But I think for a lot of listeners, because you're writing a book, gathering your thoughts, putting it all together. We all have great ideas. I have a million terrible ideas to one good idea. I'm the worst at that. But actually taking the idea and actually putting in the work and then getting to the finish line, it's so much easier said than done. But if you do it, now you know the blueprint. Now you know what it takes. And I mean, do you have aspirations of another book down the road? Maybe a different topic,
right now,
different genre.
No, not right now. Not at this time. But like that's the thing, is like maybe in the future I will. And now that I've done it, I kind of have an idea of how to do it, and you know that'll go forward. And you know, until then, a lot of people have been buying it. Like you saw, it was a 5-star rating. People seem to like it, so you know it's out there for people to have. But you're right, it's really just kind of getting those things down on paper, setting your goals, having realistic goals that you can achieve, and then pursuing them, and not being afraid to take some risks on those things to do it. Like, yeah, I spent like a couple $100 on an artist, and the art could have come back terrible. Well, that was a risk I had to take, and the art came back good. It's okay. It's a good book, things like that, where you're going to have to take a little risk, put in some effort, build that equity. Sweat equity is great, especially for, if people enjoy what they're going to do it. Just do it.
Cool. Well, I can't thank you enough for coming on board. I've learned a lot. I hope, some people out there learn something, and there's more to dig into here on this whole entire topic. So we'll have to have you back on if you're okay with that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we can, if people have certain specific questions, they can reach out to you or to me, and you can get those questions to me, and I can make sure to research them appropriately, and maybe kind of run them by some of the project people that I know that might have better answers. And like I said, there's a lot of research to be done out there. I'm only in it, so far a little over a year now, headlong into it, down the rabbit hole, but it's been around, like I said, from 2008, 2009. That I'll leave one thing here. You were talking about like timelines. Mm-hmm. People don't realize that Dogecoin was not. Dogecoin didn't burst into the scene and make people millionaires. It was in 2013. Yeah, Dogecoin came out in 2013, and most of the country or the world didn't find out about it until 2021 on like SNL and things like that. So
yeah,
people just have to have realistic timelines on a lot of things. In investing and personal finances and things like that, you need to have long timelines, but there's a lot of small steps that you can take to make sure that you get from point A to point B successfully.
Yeah, there's a quote. I'm probably gonna butcher it, but one of the biggest reasons people don't succeed on whatever task goals because of boredom. You get into the initial wave of newness and you do it, and you're 5 days in, 10 days in, and all of a sudden that goal becomes boring, and you just stop. I mean, it's just so doing the little things every single day. I mean, how do you counteract the stale or boredom? And that's the difference between the best and the rest. People that can enjoy the work and learn how to love the practice. That's what Michael Jordan did. He practiced harder than anybody else out there, and he made the game easy. Made it look easy. So, so Michael Allen, and where are you from? Where are you at right now?
Right now, Hampton Roads, Virginia. So Norfolk specifically.
Cool. And
great place.
Your website, seekerofcoin.com.
Yep.
And then the book.
Got some info on crypto there, the ABCs of the Coast Guard. Yep.
Cool. And thanks, you guys. Strive for 25 here. Michael Allen, thanks so much. And we're going to catch back up with you.